So with the next major update of War Thunder, something really cool is actually happening to the game, which I think is going to benefit a ton of players whenever it comes to grinding out things in War Thunder. So basically what they're doing is that they're foldering a ton of vehicles within the game. So what foldering is basically where they put vehicles together into like a little pack. Whenever you click on the vehicle, it opens it up and you're able to pick which, vehicle that you want. But the thing about it is now within folded vehicles, everything that is folded together will be a reduction in RP. So whenever you grind out the top vehicle, you can either skip over the folded vehicles and go to the next vehicle within the tech tree, or you can go back and research those vehicles for a reduction in RP, which means that you'll be able to fill out your lineups a lot better. And also, if you don't like particular areas of the game, especially if you're not a low tier player, you would then be able to just go past it and go towards whatever vehicles that you want to play, which I think overall is positive for, player options. Now, the thing about it is that it's going to be for low tier and it's also going to be for high tier. So you're going to be able to skip over some Shermans if you don't want to play them. You'll be able to skip over a ton of things, which I believe a lot of people had issues with, especially if you don't prefer playing those types of vehicles. Now, the thing is that it's also going to be for top tier, which I think is the huge positive, because in low tier, normally you can get those vehicles ground out in a couple of games, maybe, a day at most whenever it comes to spading those vehicles within the game. But there's going to be even stuff for top tier. So like the M1A2 Abrams, you're going to be able to get that still for 400,000 RP. But the thing about it is the M1A2 Sep Abrams is going to be a reduction. So it's going to be 200,000 instead of 400,000, because now they're both in a folder together. Now, the thing about it is that the M1A2 Abrams is going to be treated as a not end of the line vehicle, but the M1A2 Sep Abrams is going to be treated as one. And end of the line vehicles within War Thunder normally mean the RP cost for the modules is going to be insane for what it is. So you do have to put that into a perspective whenever you're thinking about, I'm getting a cut on, the RP cost for the vehicle itself, but for grinding it out and spading the vehicle, it's still going to be a ton of work to actually get done. Now, overall, this is a huge positive change to War Thunder. It's going to make grinding out vehicles very, quicker, but at the same time, there's going to be negatives within the game. There's a bunch of vehicles which are actually going up in rank, which means that they're going to have to either get rid of their air spawn, special stuff for like the F-84Fs, as well as the Valtors for at least France. They would no longer have an air spawn. So they're just going to be insanely hard to grind, because they're not vehicles that can easily take off from a runway and go bomb bases, which mainly their whole entire job revolves around. You're also going to have issues with stuff like the Puma for Germany, which means that it will now be an end of the line vehicle, which means the mod cost on it is going to be insane. So it's probably going to have the same amount of, mod cost that normal MBTs have, stuff like, 30,000 for just, the like engine and all that sort of stuff, which is going to make it a little bit harder to just spade out and make it combat effective. But the Puma already is a really good vehicle within the War Thunder. You're going to also have some very positive things. For example, with the UK tech tree, instead of grinding out, the whole entire copy paste challengers, in my opinion, especially stuff like the 2F and the test, you can now completely skip over them after you have the Challenger 2, and you can go straight to the good challengers, which is the Challenger 2 Black Knight and the Challenger 2E, which I think overall is a really good thing, which then you can get those and then go back and get the 2F and as well as the test for a reduction in RP and have a complete lineup whenever it comes to your top tier challengers, which is a really good thing. Now, another thing to note, which is also a positive thing for War Thunder, is that there's a ton of vehicles which are actually going up in rank that are premiums. So whenever premium goes up in rank, that is actually a really good thing, because that means that it can actually grind out more of the game itself. So for example, the PT7657, which was a battle pass premium that you could have got back in the day for doing the battle pass, it is now a rank 5. So now it can grind out rank 6 vehicles, which means that it's more effective at grinding out the game, which is always a really good thing. None of the premiums have went down in rank, which means that their effectiveness is not nerfed or anything. So that is a positive thing, at least for Gaijin. But there are vehicles which have went down in rank that are not premiums within the tech tree, but you'll be able to see it. There will be a link in the description of this video, and as well as a pinned comment where you can actually view the tech trees and see what you will need to grind out and see what maybe is changed for you, because I'm not able to see exactly what your tech tree looks like, and you can make an informed decision on that. Yeah, overall, this vehicle is preparing you guys for the next major update whenever it comes to grinding, because there's some scenarios where maybe you can actually quit grinding the vehicle that you're currently grinding and go to something else, or you may need to actually grind out a vehicle because, for example, for me, for Israel, they're actually foldering the Magach 6A and the Magach 5, which I already have the Magach 5, which means that I would have to get the Magach 6A to be able to progress to the Magach 6B or the Magach 6R, which is a funny thing to have happen, but it is what it is. It's one of those things that there's going to be negatives out of this change, but overall, I think it is going to be a huge positive for War Thunder, just because it gives player choice. It gives people the ability to go and do pretty much whatever they want. So we're going to touch on aviation just a little bit because it is an important thing. There are some things that are not making much sense to me, especially whenever it comes to foldering, but I kind of understand why, at least in the aviation sense. You know, like the F-104s for America are not being folded, but basically they're the same thing. I think they should be folded, but as you know, what line are they on? The F-16C. So we kind of understand probably why they're not getting folded yet, and they might be folded in the future. You know, stuff like the A7s are being folded, which is always really good. There is one for Russia, which is going to be kind of insane, is that the MiG-27s are now being folded, and you'll be able to get the MiG-27K for cheaper whenever it comes to its overall cost. But the mod cost on it is still going to be insane because it's treated as an end-of-the-line vehicle, which is always not a great thing. There is also some positives whenever it comes to aircraft. Your F5C is now going up to rank 7. So I believe at one point you could have got the F5C for about $25. So now you have a rank 7 with the F5C, which can grind out the whole entire American tech tree, which is really good. There's also one thing to note last with the ground, is that there's some of the new $70 premiums which have went up to rank 7, like the M1KVT. For Germany, I believe, the Leopard 2 has went up. For Russia, the 2S38 and as well as the T-72 terms have went up to rank 7. Britain, the Challenger DS has went up. For Japan, they have not had one that goes up to rank 7 yet. And for China, ZTZs went up. For Italy, nothing. France, nothing for France as well. For Sweden, the CV90-105 has went up, and Israel, nothing. So overall, I think we can kind of expect whenever it comes to the tech tree that one of these nations that have went up in, its battle rating to rank 7 within their top tier premiums, there's going to be some sort of new, thing coming to the game for them, probably at a rank 8. So overall, really positive change, War Thunder. It is one thing that's been on the roadmap of War Thunder, which I think is, really cool to see that they've actually been sticking to it and they're not been changing much whenever it comes to that. You're going to be able to grind out, have, more value for your time within the game, which I don't think many people can complain about. Do you guys agree with this change of, certain things being folded together? The only thing that I complain about within this, it kind of does look a little bit cluttered whenever it comes to looking at tech trees now. And I could experience, if I was a newer player, I would experience a little bit of overwhelmness of just looking at this tech tree now, especially with how many folded vehicles there is, and kind of just understanding, which vehicle to go after, which vehicle to, maybe just skip over. But, that's kind of one thing you just got to learn, kind of how the tech trees work if you're a newer player in general. So yeah, I think it's a really positive change. What do you guys think? And I'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video. Oh yeah, there's one last thing to note whenever it comes to this change, is that whenever you have a premium that is going up in battle rating now, I do believe the price is going to be changing for GE in the game, and as well as if you have it on the Gaijin store, it will be changing as well. So for example, I believe the F5C will probably go up in price to $70 because now it will be able to grind up more within the game. Same with any other thing whenever it comes to War Thunder. So that is mindful to take into effect, and hopefully you all have a wonderful day. And this is the real ending of the videos.